Hey everybody, how's it going? Thanks for watching Manny Scale Modeling and doing a pretty much a video podcast today. I got a special guest, Robert Kennedy from Typhoon Paint Products is going to be on and talk about his paint mixers and paint racks. So, how's it going, Robert? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing just fine. How about you, Manny?
Not too bad. Thanks for coming on the podcast and talking about your mixers and paint racks.
Man, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Welcome. So
I could,
the
yeah,
first
I consider it an honor. Thank you.
You're welcome. The first thing, why don't you talk about your mixers? Because I mean, I love mine. So
That's great. That's no problem. Basically, if people go to my website and they at the very top in the menu click the please watch video, it kind of puts together a 2.5 minute video of how I got started and I had fun with it and everything. But basically, about 13 years ago, the story goes as this, is that I was shaking my paints to death. And even then, I didn't know if they were mixed all the way through completely. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And I have a chemistry background. I'm a retired physician. So I had a chemistry background. And I remembered those vortex mixers in chemistry class. So I got one on eBay and I took it apart, cleaned it up, refurbished it, oiled it, did everything, had to replace a few parts and stuff like this. I like tinkering with small stuff. And so my mixer started working and it was great. And so I went down to a con, and for people who do, since I know you do automotives and stuff like this, but my line is mainly again uh, uh, in fantasy and miniature painting and stuff.
right.
And so I went down to a con called Reaper Con in Denton, Texas. And I had my mixer with me. I was sitting at the table, at a table or whatever, and I was mixing my paints while I was painting for this con, while waiting for my next class. And people came over to me and said, "Hey, Kennedy, what is that thing?" And I said, "Oh, it's a vortex mixer. It just mixes paint." And they picked up one of my paints and they would try it and they go, "That's cool," and
Yeah.
everything. And then after a few people had done that, one of the owners of reaperminiatures.com or Reaper Miniatures came over and said, "Hey Robert, how you doing?" And I said, "Oh, hey Brian, how you doing?" And he said, "I was told there was something I needed to come over and see here." And I said, "Yeah, people were wanting, they were asking me about this." And so I told him about it. And he said, "Can I try that?" And I said, "Sure." He picked up a paint and he put it down and he goes, "Whir," and he mixes it for about 5 seconds. He looks at it and goes, "I'll be right back." And
Yeah.
about 10 minutes later, he shows up and he's got this bottle, an old Reaper Miniatures bottle of paint that had sediment on the bottom and it had Kool-Aid green on the top.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and no label on it. And he goes, "May I?" And I said, "Be my guest." And so he tried it and he pushed it down the vortex mixer and he goes, and he looked and nothing happened for 2 or 3 seconds and then went boom and changed.
Yeah.
And he goes, Do you have a cup? Or do you have a cup?" And I said, "Yeah." And so I handed him a cup and he turned it upside down and went it squeezed all the paint out and it was done.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Do you have a paper towel?" I said, "Sure." And so he said, so he took his knife out, click, and he just cut that thing all the way open right across the half. And he opened it up and he had the paper towel in his hand. And he looked at it and he goes, "This is mixed all the way through." He said, "How did you come up with this?" And I just told him, I said, "No big deal. It was just something stuff." He said, "We have spent $32,000 trying to come up with our own mixer. This is the answer. You
Yeah.
should get about 20 of these things
Yeah.
and put spray paint them black and put a label on them that says Reaper paint mixers and bring them down next year." And I said, "Can I do that?" And he goes, "No, you can't,"
Yeah.
and everything. But I came home and that's when I suddenly decided, I thought, maybe there's an interest out there. So I got an idea and I got about 10 of them and I spray painted them my signature red and came up with a label, put it on there and put them on eBay. And oh, I apologize. I've got dogs and everything that are out, and when somebody is delivering something, they make a lot of noise. So I apologize for that background noise.
Here too.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey man, you might want to take a pause since you're recording this.
All right, yeah,
Yeah, I'm on with you.
we'll take a quick break and we'll
My
be
wife is going to take the dogs to the vet. She was real nice about it.
all right, guys. Sorry about that. We had to take a little break here. Okay, Robert. So I just wanted to tell everybody too, after I had purchased it, you had you must have watched my video because you emailed me and said that I was holding the bottle wrong on the mixer. I was holding it like kind of like in the middle of it, and you're supposed to hold it at the top, and it works better.
Yeah,
Okay. And then when you flip it over, do the same thing. Try to hold it close to the bottom as you can.
it's absolutely. Yeah, let that what as far away as you can get for your fingers from where it's mixing at the base, the better it mixes.
Yeah. And after you emailed me that, as soon as I read the email, I went over and tried it with some paint, and it worked a hell of a lot better. So
Cool.
that was cool. Um, so with your mixers, real quick before we get into the paint racks, you refurbish them all. Why don't you talk about that? And you're saving the environment too from getting thrown in the dumps or whatever too.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, and I appreciate it. By the way, I want to do one thing, and that's this. I want to say that there is no way that I could have gotten this all off the ground and gotten my website and everything like this going. I want to give absolute thanks to my family and friends
Oh yeah,
who are listed on my website, my staff and everything like this, or my team and
yeah,
everything, because I would never have gotten my channel started or my website started or the 3D 3D CAD programs that my nephew did for me for the paint racks and everything, so that I could have them laser cut to perfection and everything right to the point whereby they're perfectly lined up.
yeah,
And so I couldn't have done anything without them.
yeah.
But so as far as the mixers go, it turned out that like I said, and I don't know, if you recorded this earlier or whatever, but it turns out that so far, we've done 1,300 mixers, and it is a neat feeling when you hold an 8-pound block of an industrial strength mixer meant for a chemistry lab or a science lab or medical lab,
Yeah,
that these things were made to work for decades. They
yeah,
just needed a little refurbishment, a little touch, a little this, a little whatever, and 99% of them bring back to life.
yeah.
And so I'm doing that. It's really been amazing knowing that each one that people get is another product that they didn't have to buy someplace else. And they also kept a 10-pound hunk of metal out of the landfills
Right.
and everything. And it's just, I can't believe it. But when I added it all up, it came up to over 8 tons so far, and that's nothing compared to landfills probably, but it's something that we can do as our part, I guess. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I also really like the idea of doing it.
Right, right. That's I mean, I love my mixer. I'm almost tempted to buy another one just to put it. So I have the paint mixer now right next to my booth,
Yeah.
but I was looking at that the digital or the one you can adjust the speed.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Put right on my bench right next to me because once I get all my paint racks set up and get that all set up, it'd be right there. So, it'd be nice. But
No problem.
hey,
Oh, I will say this, just a real quick thing.
yeah,
A lot of people always ask me about the one with adjustable speed. It's just that that's the way. I don't really have a way to take all the knobs and dials out of it and everything. So I just tell people, I say, look, why wouldn't you want to mix your paints at anything but the high speed? I said, just turn the dial up and leave it up to full.
Yeah.
and put it on touch setting on the switch, and you're
Mhm.
ready to go. Just leave it there. You don't have to unplug it or whatever like this. You're ready to go. And it's got that one is kind of nice. It's got for people who really want a large surface because it's got a 3.5 inch flat plate
Yep.
and everything. So good wide surface area on that one.
Yeah, that was cool. And it is cool that the one I bought comes with the two different top.
Yeah, the interchangeable tops are nice. For some people, they really want to hold on. They really like the idea of still having that cup. But
Yeah.
that top cup is not necessary, as you probably saw when if
Yeah.
you try using a dropper bottle on that pad, it works exactly the same, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
But I do those because they're available and people like the idea of getting them. And I'll say one last thing that is about my least expensive mixer. The only reason why it's my least expensive mixer, the original Typhoon paint mixer, as I call it,
Yeah.
with my flat top modification, it used to have a hunk of rubber on the top of it that it spun, that the motor that was made for chemistry labs, and it weighed 31 grams. And I realized, I could, and I redid and had somebody make, and I did anyway. So I made a 2.5 inch flat plate and it screws onto the top of it instead of that cup, and it only weighs 9 grams.
Yeah.
So that mixer motor that was designed to move 31 grams plus its contents is only moving 9 grams now. And so people think that my least expensive mixer is not going to be very powerful, but it's actually a very, very strong one, and it works
Yeah.
great
It
with the
is. It
modification.
is.
So I just thought I'd throw that out there for people who might hurt. And also 2.5 inches. Who needs more than 2.5 inches? Oh, I'll keep this clean. No, I'm just kidding. Uh,
Yeah.
who needs more than a 2.5 inch spot for any paints that we have out there?
Yeah. And I wonder how many guys are laughing at that right now.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. I just thought we're having fun here and everything. So
So anyway, but yeah, that's cool. And I love my mixer, but I'm definitely thinking about getting the other one just for the bench. But um go ahead and talk about your paint racks because I mean I had to try them to try to organize because everything kept falling over when I went in my thing to get them and I mean I've seen them on Robert's Barbatos Rex.
yeah,
Yep,
Barbatos Rex.
yep,
Yeah.
definitely another channel you guys got to go check out and subscribe um and you have I think there's what is there 11 racks.
I have a total of 13 now,
13?
including I have 11 racks, but I also have people bug me forever for a drawer. So I made a drawer
Oh yeah.
that has, I do that. And then also people bug me to death for a brush holder.
Yeah.
And I looked and I thought, and so I made a paintbrush slash tool holder as well. So I've got those 13 items and stuff.
Yep. So go ahead and talk about your paint racks because I know in some of the
Yeah.
emails and talking to you on the phone, you wanted me to kind of explain that, and it's just like, overwhelming.
It's
But
it's okay. The basic idea is this. Uh, those of us who paint, I don't know about you, Manny, but those of us who miniature paint, we cannot help but keep buying paint.
yeah, I have
It's
that.
just in our genes.
Yeah, I
We
have that.
just can't help it. We just have to keep buying paint because we say, oh my God, I need that color, or I need those, or I need this or that.
Yeah,
And I realized after my first, after I got because I started out with a large set or whatever that I was able to get, online.
yeah,
Uh, but anyway, so I realized after I had them set out in front of me and then down in a box and everything, I'm like, there's I ordered some paint racks, from people, and I'd have like something that was like 18 inches wide by 12 inches deep, and it held like 30 bottles, and I was like, there's a lot of space here. There's got to be a better way to put more paint out in front of you
yeah,
and stuff like that. And so I started to come up with the idea and cut out some cardboard models and thoughts and everything. And so my nephew, who is an engineer and everything, and he is wonderful. He's a master. His name is Blake.
yep,
And my nephew, who has grown up well with me, and we have a great relationship, he said, "Man, I can do 3D designs. You can have those laser cut and everything," because I thought about laser cutting. And so he did my 3D designs for me for free. He was just super on this. And there's no way I could have done any better. But what happened was I realized, you can put more paint out in front of you if you just maximize the space right to the spot.
Yeah.
So that's why I made the paint racks that hold everything from 25 millimeter dropper bottles, which are pretty common for almost all droppers, including Army Painter, Reaper, Vallejo, things like that.
Yep.
And then it moves on to the Citadel pots, and then on to Tamiya, or Tamiya, as some people say.
Yep.
And then both the 23 ml bottles, which they'd started to discontinue,
Yeah.
but then they got so much of a feedback, they started making them again. So I also made racks for the 10 ml bottles and the 23 ml bottles. So, and even some corner racks and stuff after people, I kind of follow with what people ask me to do. So,
Yeah.
but that's how I came up with that. And then I realized that when I put my first three 75 bottle original racks, straight racks up in front of me, as I show in one of my pictures, I've got 225 paint bottles in front of me that take up 1 foot of space by 3 feet of space
Yeah.
inside 1 yard, just barely,
Yeah.
and stuff. And so, I mean, I thought, this is something we need to pass on and see if we can get started. So that was when we start. That was after doing that original rack like that 75 bottle dropper holder straight rack. And
Yeah.
so it all slowly grew from there, basically, after people's demands. And I also just recently, last but not least, is Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl line. They came out with a set of paints that just literally were off the charts as far as people's feedback at first, and they're a different size, so they're about 31 millimeters. So I made a paint rack for them.
Oh,
Last but not least, all of these racks I have 5 different sized holes for the racks,
yeah.
and there are over 92 hobby paints out there, believe it or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
That's my last count. And so almost all of them will fit into one of my setups and everything. So anyway,
And as you said on the website too, when people go there to look at them, to measure the bottles, their bottles that they want to put into the paint rack, which is what I probably should have did because I did mess up on one. But also the other thing too I wanted to say was, make sure you read the directions, because the first one I put together, I did it wrong. They weren't spaced right, and it's every
yeah.
one, the pieces that go across. It's every other one you got to space them out, and I didn't do that. And yeah, so I had to take it apart, which it came apart without breaking anything, which I was like, it was good. So
It's the most common mistake that people make and everything. And I used to have a T-shirt, and I think it was Tim Allen that said it said, "When all else fails, read the directions."
yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I should have did, but we're guys, so we try not to,
Oh yeah,
oh, I
I
can,
don't need no stinking directions.
yeah, I can put it together.
I got it.
All right, so well, I guess that'll be about it for today. But yeah, Robert, I mean, we'd love to have you back on again and you know talk more. And I'm gonna have pictures, flying around up here of the paint racks and the paint mixers during the video when we're talking about certain stuff too. So
Okay. I hope I didn't overwhelm the talk and stuff like this. But I'd like to know, if you don't mind, just about your lines and what you're working on next and everything. That would be cool.
uh, I am working on most of the guys that follow my channel and stuff. They know I'm working on the fire flame video, which
Okay.
has taken quite a while to do because it's just I don't want to take so much time as when I'm airbrushing and stuff and just have them watch and watch. But I just learned how to do the fast forward thing,
Yeah.
so I can do that now, and so they don't have to just wait 15 minutes for me to do something. So I can break it down to like a minute and a half or a minute. So that was my biggest issue I was having with doing stuff because I wanted the time lapse thing. Um, I've got of course, all us model guys, we have tons of projects going on. I just finished the 70 Roadrunner a few days ago, I think. Just put the video up for that. And I was talking to Ed over at One Team Garage about a model he's going to be building, and he emailed me, and I was like, well, you know what? I've been dying to build that kit, so I'm going to wait for his unboxing video, and I'm going to open mine up when I'm watching it and go through mine, and then we're going to build them. So I'm real excited to do that. So Ed, hurry up and do that unboxing video
Cool.
to get
That
out.
sounds great, man.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. I can't wait to see it when it comes out.
Other than that, just I just have tons of stuff going on. And what the heck is this? Oh, it run
Oh
out of.
man, you did a great job on one thing where you showed your all the stuff stacked up above your bench, and I'm like, man, that was like me as a kid who had so many models that I would get, and I just couldn't put them together fast enough, literally, and everything I would get for gifts because I was kind of a sick kid and stuff with bad asthma, and we didn't have good medicines back then.
Yeah, yeah,
And I did a lot of stuff, with my hands and everything. So
yeah.
yeah, I know exactly what that's like, but I love the picture of your desk and all those models above it in the box.
Thanks. That's my dog's going off now too. So, all right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. So, thanks, Robert, for coming on.
I want to thank you so much for having me on. And
Oh,
like I said, it's a privilege. And I hope more people will tune in and watch your stuff once the word passes around because it's a ball watching your videos and everything. And I think your
appreciate it.
podcasts are great as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back.